Hi Year 8, I hope you're all okay, hope you've been enjoying the sunshine a bit over the weekend and so on. I just thought I'd do a really short video to introduce you to this task. So it's broken down into different lessons, but this is the first lesson. You're basically doing a decision-making activity. So ideally you'll do each lesson step by step and just keep it all together for at the end, and I'll either try and mark it at the end or when we come back to school. So your learning objective is you're going to make a decision based on the knowledge you've gained about coastal management. So you've done quite a lot of work on the Holderness coast, and some of your work has been absolutely brilliant. So thank you for that, because it's really tricky doing this work from home. So well done. And also, most of you live in or near Sidmouth, so you hear quite a lot about coastal management in the news, and about erosion and why we need coastal management. So use your knowledge to make decisions, and this is what people have to do in jobs all the time. Think about what you've learnt so far. Some of you might want to do a little brainstorm in your book as a starter activity, but usually I just talk about this in class. So the picture on the left is of Pennington Point in Sidmouth, and there's been lots of rock falls there. And some people think that the sea defences in Sidmouth are to blame, but the people that live on top of Pennington Point obviously aren't happy about this. They're losing huge chunks of their garden every year to these landslides, and so there's a real need for coastal protection, and lots of people have views about this. On the right hand side is a picture of the Holderness coast, which is the case study you've just completed, and this is the fastest eroding coastline in Europe, and some parts of the coast are losing up to 20 metres of land a year. So businesses, houses, the environment is all being lost in this area, and there's a real need for management. So we're going to use all of this knowledge that we've gained so far to start making decisions. So you have got a copy of this map attached to show my homework, and this is an imaginary place, but your job is going to be like a planner. Basically, you're going to be planning the coastal management for this island. And the first stage is looking really closely at this island and the sheet of information that you've got about the towns, which I'm just going to show you. This sheet, which tells you a little bit about the towns on the island. So it tells you how many people live there and a little bit of information about what the location is like. Basically, you're going to do the following today. So today's lesson, you are going to look at the island closely, and you're going to identify which of the areas on the island are vulnerable to erosion because of either the geology, which is the rock type. So if you look closely, you'll see that there's 3 rock types on the island. So you've got sandstone, which is similar to the type, well, it is the type of rock that we have in Sidmouth. So it isn't the strongest rock in the world, but it's not the weakest. It does erode. You've then got clay, which is really, really weak rock, like the rock that you have on the Holderness coast. And then you've got granite, which is really strong rock, one of the strongest rocks there is. So you need to think about which areas on the island are vulnerable because of their geology and which areas are vulnerable because of the waves. And you'll notice the prevailing wind is coming from the southwest, and that means that's where the strongest waves are going to come most of the time. But don't forget that strong waves can come from any direction, so just have a little think about that. Also identify, so the next thing is to identify areas that have the most to lose. So they might not be vulnerable in terms of their rock type or whatever, but they might have a lot of businesses that need protecting or a lot of homes that are right by the coast. So look at the map, look at the information, really have a think about which places are going to need the most protection, and then annotate your map to start suggesting what sea defences you might put in place on the island. And there's a website which I've attached to show my homework, but it's also on here, a bite-sized website which just reminds you of the different types of management there is. So it talks to you about the groins, the sea walls, and so on. Just a reminder, what you're doing today is identifying which places are vulnerable, identifying which places on the island have the most to lose in terms of houses, business, etc. and then decide on a management scheme for the island. So think about which places you might put groins, which places you might put sea walls, and annotate on your map. Then in your books or on a sheet of paper, whatever, justify why you've chosen that. So why have you chosen to put groins in one place? Why have you chosen to put the seawall somewhere else? Okay, so that's what I'd like you to do this lesson. Have a good day.